Welcome to Spiritual Vacancy. This is a podcast to help fill your spiritual void. We discuss everything from psychic mediums, Reiki practitioners, palmistry, astrology, all the way to aliens and religion. We hope you can join us every week as we dive into topics of the sometimes unknown and, of course, the other side. We hope you enjoy today's episode. So today I want to talk about our pets in spirit. Do they show us signs? Do they come in dreams? Do they reincarnate before us or while we're still living? And I have answers to all of that, like just my opinion too. Of course, you can always have your own opinion, and I'd love to hear it in the comments if you agree or not, or have you had any experiences with a pet that has passed and you get signs or symbols or you feel them or you hear them because they're definitely there and they definitely want you to know that they're there. And I also believe that they can reincarnate while we're still here, like they can come in as another pet for you, especially if you feel that connection. They can lead pets to you, and I have stories about that too. And it's just amazing how strong our pets are in spirit, or the signs that they show us. And it's fascinating, and it feels so good because it's so hard to lose a pet. They are so innocent and they are like our soulmates. They're our soul children. And I mean if you're anything like me, I treat my pets like family. So I worry about them, I check on them. I wish they could call me just so I could talk to them and say, like, do you miss me? Especially if we're away. We watch everybody's dogs while they travel too. So I love getting to see everybody's personalities because all dogs and cats are so different. I'm actually allergic to cats. I always had cats growing up, but they were outside cats. They kind of lived in our garage. And I'm from California, so it never got like super hot, so the garage was totally safe. But with pets, it is fascinating. I have lost a couple dogs in my life that were very, very important to me. And I lost a cat too when I was younger. I still don't fully know how she passed or where she went. But I mean, that was one of my first losses was her. And she was the sweetest cat. She would actually drool all over your leg when she would get excited. And she was so sweet. And I've actually been to one pet medium. And it was okay. Kind of more generic information where your dog loves you, your dog will always be in your heart, your dog is okay. And there was nothing that really tied it together that was my dog. Because I feel like that could be from anybody's pet. Because it's still nice to hear. I mean, it still was peaceful no matter what, because I know my dog was sitting right next to me in spirit. And I do believe they stay with us and they even reincarnate while with us. I've got stories about that too. But I always say if you go to a pet psychic or a pet medium, because they work just like we do with actual people. So a pet psychic is where it taps into your living pet's energy. So if you have a dog or cat and you're curious about, what do they like to eat? Do they have any health ailments right now? Do they like other siblings in the house? Do you have other pets? Do they get along with that? Are there things that they like about you being their owner, or is there things that you can change? That's a pet psychic. And then you have pet mediums, which is obviously, them talking to your pet on the other side that's crossed. Now, there are people that just do pet psychic mediumship. They don't work with humans at all. They don't do anything else but with animals. And I think that is fascinating and I think that's wonderful. I do offer pet readings, but I would never do it for a full hour. The thing is, there's not enough your pet can really talk about. to charge anybody for a full hour. Most pet readings are like 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how many pets you want to come in contact with. But some of the prices that people charge is insane. There is a lady online that charges over $200 for 20 minutes, and she says the craziest shit about your pet. She will talk about how your pet needs to use a cane to walk. Like, I'm sorry. What dog can use a cane? I'm like, does the dog drive? Does it not? Is it like a stick shift and it would prefer a manual, automatic? Like, what's going on here? And it was talking about like guns in the house and dad shooting and all this stuff. And like people, the woman's like, we don't have guns. We don't own guns. So that, I mean, she did give that lady a refund, but I mean, some of the stuff they say is like insane. And it should just be kind of like for entertainment at that purpose. But if you're getting into the 200s that someone's charging, that's nuts. There is a lady in California. She's a pet psychic, so she works at local shops wherever she's from. And I'm assuming pet stores. I have no idea. But I think she only charges like 35 or $40. So totally doable. When I first saw her videos, I actually thought they were satire. I didn't think they were actually real because she told a lady that her dog wanted to go water skiing. It was like, I couldn't believe she said that because, for one, I'm like, why would the dog even know what that is? And then the mom that was sitting there with her dog, she was like, they don't have boats, they don't water ski. And she goes, well, your dog is telling me that he wants to water ski, so you should get him on lessons. And I'm like, this lady cannot be freaking serious. Like she was serious. Like she is serious in her readings and they are the craziest, most made up shit I have ever heard. But for $35, $40, they're totally comical and it's worth the entertainment, I would feel. So I mean, either way, it's kind of like a win-win. She's getting paid somehow and then you're getting entertainment. And her even uploading the videos is hilarious because I can't even believe it. I just can't. It is so hard to fathom, but each their own. Whatever brings you help and closure on any situation, whether your pet is living or departed, it doesn't matter. Because if you're anything like me, my pets are my children, my dogs are my children. I do have two dogs in spirit right now. And we always wonder like if our dogs communicate with us or are around us? Do they see us? Do they see our other pets? And yes, they truly do. So my one dog, Penny, she passed away in March 9th of 2019, very tragically. I was out of work for a week. Everybody was calling and checking on me, making sure I'm okay because I was not okay. And she did a lot of things to show me that she was near us. So we had another dog, Roxy, still living at the time, her sister. And when Penny passed, I was in bed most of the time in that week and I had printed or I didn't print, but I had CVS print photos of Penny and I had asked my husband to drive me to CVS to pick up the photos because they were ready because I wanted to put them in frames and make a little something for her. And so we left the house. My son was at school. Nobody was home. Everything was quiet in the house. And my husband takes me to CVS, which is like around the corner. I could have walked there. And we're gone maybe 10 minutes. We come back in and the upstairs there is music blaring like somebody's having a freaking party up there. Excuse me. It was crazy. It was so loud. And we just kind of looked at each other and he goes, "Did you leave the TV on?" And I'm like, "I wasn't even watching TV at all." So we go upstairs and it's actually coming from my office and the door is shut. And I open the door and my computer is blaring playing this music. Mind you, you have to put in a code to even get into the computer, and then you would have to click on the music, it was Pandora. You'd have to go in, click Pandora to play the music to even get it started, but somebody had to put a code in there. So to me, that was Penny coming through. There was no significance with the song, and I don't even remember what the song was because I just was so emotional that that was her. And it was happened when we went to go get her photos. And so I was like, oh my God, she like punched in the pin on my computer for it to play music because there's just no way that could just play. It just can't. I hadn't been on the computer in over a week. So that was freaking awesome, right? That she did that. And then the funeral home had called us and they said that her ashes were ready. So, and this was in Murrells Inlet, so it was a little bit of a drive. So we got our dog Roxy in the car, and Roxy was not with us when we took Penny to the funeral home because we actually took Penny because she passed away at home at like almost midnight, I think. It's like 10, 11. It's all a blur. It was very late at night, and they were there. And they said we could drop her off, so we drove her, but Roxy was not with us. Roxy stayed home when we took Penny to the funeral home. And then when we went to pick her up, I don't know if it was 5 days or 4 days, however many days later, they said Penny was ready. We brought Roxy with us. So Roxy had never been to this funeral home. And when we pull into the funeral home, Roxy starts going crazy. She starts crying. She starts going all around the vehicle, like all over our car. And we were like, what? That is crazy because she knew we were picking up Penny. I mean, well, she didn't know she's a dog. But it's like she knew we were going to get her. And it wasn't until we pulled into the funeral home. And mind you, the funeral home had called me to pick up Penny's ashes and was like, you have to be here by like 5 because we close at 5 and nobody will be here to answer it. So there was not one car in the parking lot because we got there right before they closed. Nobody was there because I was looking around to see if like Roxy saw a person standing outside or, she was getting excited. Nothing. There was nobody anywhere, but she just started crying as soon as we pulled into that parking lot, which I just was like, Roxy knows Penny's here. Penny is with us. And it was such a beautiful thing. Like we all started crying. Roxy's crying. We're all crying. So I'm like, she knows. Like we got Penny. And it was another amazing moment. And then, because Penny was like my soul dog. And then fast forward, we weren't sure if we were gonna get another dog. We had Roxy, and Roxy was my first dog I ever got. And so I saw these dogs online and they were at a rescue. And there was a lady in Market Commons. There was like 8 puppies that had been abandoned. They were only 5 weeks old. So we scheduled time to go meet them. And we fell in love with a little girl named Sandy, who is now Lily. We renamed her. And she wasn't old enough to be adopted. They were only 5 weeks. So we were talking to the foster mom and we're like, well, we would really like her if the opportunity's there, but we'll think about it. And we said goodbye and left, and I was like, she's so cute, but all the puppies were so cute. And the next day, the rescue group calls and they go, if you want to pick up Sandy, you could foster to adopt and she'll be yours because it'll help the foster mom out. It takes a little bit off of her dealing with all those puppies. And I was like, oh my God, yes, that'd be awesome. So my son and I jumped in the car, went and got Sandy, now Lily, and sent a picture to my husband and was like, look who we got. And he was like, I thought we were going to think about it and I didn't think we could get her. And I'm like, nope, today she's ours. Like, we are fostering to adopt, but like, she's going to be our dog. And it was like a couple weeks later when I had figured out that we had got Lily, the day that they called us to pick her up was June 9th of 2019. So it was 3 months to the day of Penny's passing, we got Lily. So there was like all these little signs from Penny, like, I know she's here. I know she's around us. And I thank you, Penny, for being here because I still miss her. I still cannot talk about her story. I will start crying. And so I'm not going to talk about it today. We're going to keep the podcast somewhat not tearful. And So yeah, it is amazing how our dogs can lead other dogs to us to give us comfort and love, to show us signs, to show us symbols, to show us they're around. And every time I hear somebody else's name that's Penny, I'm like, I know she's right there. I know she is right there. Um, and it's beautiful because our pets are just as strong as like our souls. They just have a different soul. They're so innocent. And then our other dog, Roxy, so is like a reincarnation of my husband's childhood dog. So I do believe that pets can reincarnate before we pass because their lives are so short. I know in dog years it's very long, but in our life, some dogs only live 8 years and then 12, 16. Some dogs can live to like 20, which is super rare, but that is possible and probably 20 plus. But that's still a short time. 20 years is not long enough with our dog. I wish they lived to 100 like turtles or like forever, right? But they don't. Obviously, we know that. And when we had decided that we were going to get a dog, like I said, I've never had a dog before. And I think our son was like 5 or 6. And I said, I think I'm ready to get a dog. So Jeremy and I went to Grand Strand Humane Society and we had walked a one dog and I was like, no way. That dog was so wild. It was so cute. But I mean, that dog, it was like all over the place. And I'm like, I don't think I could control that dog. And so we put the dog, up and we were just kind of walking around and we were about to leave. And Jeremy actually walked into a employees only section and he comes out with this dog and he goes, I told my mom that I was going to find a dog that looks just like my Buffy that he had growing up. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, this dog looks like Buffy and I want her. She's ours. So we go up to the front desk and she had actually just been dropped off. So she was like on a week hold in case her parents came back for her that we would not get her. And they called us a week later and like, okay, she's yours. Her original name was Narna. Yeah, not Narnia, Narna, which is such a weird name. And we renamed her Roxy. And she looks exactly like Jeremy's childhood dog named Buffy, except Buffy was a boy, Roxy's a girl, but identical. Roxy was definitely abused by men that wear hats, because if any man would come over that wore a hat, she would freak out. She would bark like crazy. She wouldn't be quiet. And if it was a female or a child, nothing. Not one peep. She wouldn't bark at all. And it was interesting because she never barked at Jeremy. She never barked at Jeremy's brother or his nephew. And I'm like, it's like she knows you. I was like, why is she not barking at your brother or your nephew? That's crazy. And she loved my mother-in-law, loved Jeremy's mom. Like she would be so excited if Joan came to the house. And it's like Roxy could hear our conversations because Roxy, we would say, "Oh, Roxy, Joppy's coming over," which is like a backstory of Polish grandmother, but it's actually Babci, but no, we could say it, so it's Joppy, so we call her Joppy, and the kids call her Joppy. And we'd be like, "Oh, Joppy's coming over." Roxy would be in the window waiting for her. It was the craziest thing. Like she knew that Joppy was coming over. And we were like, how does she know that? Like she's so connected to Jeremy's family. It was so cool. And that's why we think she truly was reincarnated. And she lived to 16. And we adopted her when she was 1. She ended up having cancer the last 2 years of her life. When she was 14, she got diagnosed with cancer. And we didn't want to go through treatment, especially at that age. We just wanted her to enjoy her life. And the last weekend, the vet was like, you have to make a decision because she was losing a lot of weight and she just wasn't, she wasn't herself. And she was 16. She had just turned 16. And I love her too because we went and took her to the beach and we got her ice cream and chocolate and milkshakes and cheeseburgers on her last weekend. And all of our friends and family got to come say goodbye to Roxy. And the day before we had to put her down, there was 14 cardinals outside on one tree in my backyard, just like staring into my kitchen. And I wish I would have got it on video, but I was so emotional that I didn't even think about like taking pictures, but everybody that was at my house saw it. Like we were all like, there's like 14 cardinals in my tree right now. Like all of them like supporting our decision, supporting Roxy, like all of the it was just like magical. I was like, I don't even know how to explain this. And but it was so cool because it just showed like that pets can reincarnate in this life because that truly was Jeremy's childhood dog. And she loved Jeremy. She could give two shits about me. Like, I loved her. She was our family dog, but like, she did not care about me. She was a daddy's girl, a 5,000% daddy's girl. I could call her name for hours and she wouldn't even look at me. And then Jeremy would be like, Roxy. And she'd go trotting right back in, couldn't wait. And I'm like, okay, she's such a daddy's girl. I love her dearly, and she is a mess, but that is your dog. Like, I don't know if you guys, anybody listening that has animals, but I do feel like certain animals kind of gravitate to one owner than the other. And it's not that they don't love the other person, but there is definitely favoritism. That's like Roxy. Roxy was Jeremy's dog. Penny was my dog, even though we had them together. But I still just love the connections that we have with our pets, how they come through. They'll come through even during my sessions. Your pets will come through, they'll come through to say they're okay, and then there'll be specifics about them or events or things that they love to do. And it's just beautiful. And it just goes to show that our animal souls are so pure and they are just like ours. They're right next to us. They move on, they go into that to the other side peacefully, and then their soul is always around us, but then I love that they can reincarnate. So those are my stories with my pets. And have you ever been to a pet psychic or a pet medium? What did you think about your experience? Did you actually believe it? Was it validating? I just want to know because I have yet to experience it. And I feel like I'm always waiting for them to come through or say something, and they never do with like any kind of evidence, which is fine. Like I said, I always go in with an open heart and an open mind to any reading that I book or that I'm at or working with. So there's definitely no expectations. But definitely the ones I've seen online is a big no. Because if somebody were to tell me that my dog wants to go water skiing, I would want my money back. I don't think I could handle that. I would be like, this is not real. Like, what is going on right now? But I would like to know, what are your thoughts on pet psychics, pet mediumship, and did you get signs from your dogs that have crossed? Do you even feel like one of your dogs has reincarnated? Or do you feel like your dog from the other side has actually brought another dog to you? So it's pretty beautiful. Let me know. I absolutely love my dogs in spirit and my ones that are currently living, and they are true angels on earth. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I will see you all in 2 weeks. And I hope you all have a beautiful day. And thank you for being here. And namaste.